Alright, so this video, I want to pretty much show you how to preload one of these Kinguwa wastegate on the CT15B. So this car has an 18-pound spring, but for you to get fully 18-pound spring, you got to preload the car. You got to preload the spring. So pretty much you got to add tension, like, this pulls out, keep it shut. And right now the car is only boosting around 16 pounds, so I got to preload, pretty much put some tension on the spring on that turbo. So what you want to, you got to get one of these little pump from Amazon. You can get them, they're like 20 bucks, I think. So you pretty much, this will push, and then and you pull this back, this will suck. This will push. So this creates like a turbo, pretty much boosting, and as a result, we'll push this rod out. If you notice, see how the rod's pushing out? So yeah, this acts like a turbo, creating a vacuum. Creating pressure, and then this pushes the springs back. So right now what I'm getting is I'm getting not enough preload on the spring. So instead of me removing the turbo, I want to show you how to do it. It's a little bit tricky. What you want to do is you want to remove the intake out and put this hose into the wastegate. So when you apply pressure, it will push the rod out, and then that you can make a lot easier to work with. So let's do that right now. Cool. And then remove the heat shield. So what I did was I create a pressure, pretty much forcing the rod to come out. So that way I can, where's my wastegate? So that way I can remove this C-clip away from the flap, and then just twist this rod in, so make it tighter. So pretty much you're creating pressure or creating tension on the spring, so that way you can increase more boost to around 18 pound or so. Because when you get 18 pound, you fluctuate between 18 and 19. So it's kind of hard to do it, to preload it on the very first try. It's very, very rare where you have an 18-pound spring and it hits 18 pound right away. Normally it'll hit about 16 and you have to preload it. You gotta like twist it one by one, and then that create more tension and create more boost. So that's what I've been noticing. I usually have to do about three times to get it to the right PSI that I wanted. So I wanted this to be around 18-19 pound of boost constantly, so that way that pretty much avoid me having a boost controller, because I just want to set one boost. If I don't want to boost, I don't want to boost. But when I want to boost, I want to hit 18 pound, 19 pound all the time, and not have to worry about playing with the boost controller, setting it, and all that stuff, and then wasting more money. So that's the great thing about these aftermarket wastegate. And the good thing about them is that the spring inside are pretty much brand new, so that way it's a lot more reliable compared to the stock wastegate, where it's it's been on the car for like maybe 20 years or so, close to 20 years, and the spring wears out, the metal wears out. It can cause a little bit of spike here and there. But with this, it's a way for me to pretty much ensure the right PSI that I want all the time. You know, a lot of guys say, oh, I don't want to boost that much sometimes, but dude, it's a turbo car. You want to set it to the boost that you want it and just leave it, you know. If you don't want to boost, don't gas. So so that's why I like these Kinguwa Wastegate. And then of course my buddy Campo is able to get me these pretty quickly. He pretty much get all my wastegate for me. So let's go ahead and remove the back nut for the heat shield. Where's my 12 mil? And for those of you who want to powder coat your heat shield, you can do it. This is actually powder coated, matte black, and it's been holding up fine. So, I mean, if you want to ceramic coat it, you can, but I mean, powder coated would do just fine. And then next step, what you want to do is you want to get, where's my little homemade? Show you over here. So we want to get one of these little cardboard, any kind of cardboard. You want to stick it between the flap. Oh, here's my cardboard right here. Let's put it between the flap, and pretty much it sits like this on the turbo. You know, this is gonna face out, of course, and it's gonna go between here and here. Let me see if I can pull this out real quick. Show you guys. Alright. So what you want to do is when it's on the car, want to get this 90-degree needle nose kind of thingy, and just pry it out. It's a little bit tricky when it's on the car, but when you do it a couple of times, you kind of get used to it. So we'll just go do this for now, for quicker. So this is how it's gonna sit when it's in the car. All right. And to put this paper back here is pretty much supporting the pin from dropping in. It's going to be a pain in the butt to remove it. The reason why I created pressure so that way it can push the rod out and there's no tension. Because when there's tension, you will never able to get this rod out or put it back. So put pressure, push the rod out, and pretty much you want to pop it out, twist to preload, and then put it back, and then put the C-clip back. So when it's on the car, it's gonna be like this, and you get one of this needle nose with a 90-degree on it. You stick it in and you pry it out. Most likely you're gonna lose this piece, so try to put like a little cup that has a magnet on it, and it drops into the magnet. So I think I lost like 2 or 3 of them. It falls in the engine block, hangs somewhere. So get a couple of these. Go to Harbor Freight and grab a box of these. I mean, they're super cheap, so it helps with a bunch of different size clip on there. So I always have these handy. So you want to pop it out, and then I lift it up, twist it, make it tighter to preload, or releasing it to release the preload, and then put it back, and then put the C-clip back. And the trick of putting it back is you want to put the C-clip on and then just twist it back here, and then use one of these if you can find it, or use one of these, and then you just pull it, and when you pull it, that will pretty much lock the pin in place again. So pretty much found out this trick, you know, when I was doing the turbo. I keep removing the turbo, do the preload, and then have to, you know, put the turbo back, and it's a pain in the butt. I'm like, dude, there has to be an easier way to do this. So this is the best way that I found. So if you find a better way, let me know. But the cardboard helps a lot, because if this what I mean, when it's on the car, when we remove the cardboard, it's gonna drop, and there's no way you can hold like your finger in there and, like, you know, trying to get the rod back in. But yeah, that's the best way that I can think of. So I'm gonna do that on the car and pretty much kind of show you guys how to do it. So pretty much what I have set up here is put that tray right there along with the mirror with the light on it, so that way I can see the C-clip. And what I'll do now is pretty much get my needle nose thingy-majiggy and just kind of like pry it out, and then stick this in there, and then just kind of pry it out, and then it's gonna drop, and hopefully it'll drop into this pan. If not, then I gotta use my phone and try to find the little C-clip. So I'm gonna do that now. It's kind of hard for doing it with the camera and with my cell phone, and then trying to do this one-handed. So I'm gonna pretty much put this camera back on the stand, and of course I already preload this already, so the rod is extended already. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it out and then spin about maybe one full turn, or maybe a full turn and a half, to increase the right boost that I wanted. All right. Okay. Let's see. One shot. Look at that. Lucky me. The clip right onto the plier. Okay. And of course, get the little 10mm wrench, really short end, to undo the locking nut, and then I'm gonna twist it in. Okay. All right. So I went about one full turn and a half. And I'm gonna put this C-clip on. We'll try it with the flathead. So I'm gonna push it in this way. Oh, my cardboard. Oh, sweet. So I don't need this tool after all. So what I did was I took it out, did a turn, have a locking nut back here. You lock it in place again, so that way it doesn't, the rod doesn't twist. This doesn't have a locking nut because I haven't put it on my non yet. So what I did was I put the C-clip on and used a screwdriver, a flathead, and then just kind of like push it in, or the other way is better. So usually I'll try this way first. If not, then I'll use the other way. For sure it's gonna go in. So all right, let's test the rod. So that will close. All right, cool. 18 pound. opens up. And put everything back again. Remove my pump. Intake goes back on. And that one is a 3.5 inch intake. You can pretty much buy this on eBay. The pipe, the 90 degree 3.5 inch, and then you get a 90 degrees 2.75 to a 3.5 inch coupler. Fairly cheap. I'll say about like, you know, 50 bucks. And then plus the filter. So run K&N filter. 3.5 inch K&N filter. Cool. Sounds good. And then install the heat shield again. And take the cardboard piece out. A little light with the mirror. This thing's very helpful, guys, so get this if you can. Amazon, they're like 20 bucks. And then the plastic tray. And pretty much you can do this with the CT20 and then the CT26 as well. But they're a little bit harder because the Gen 3 manifold is pretty big and it's gonna be very, very tight, but I think it's doable. I don't really run 20B and 26s on the Gen 4 and Gen 5. I've tried it on my other cars. I didn't like it. It was just too laggy for the engine for some reason. The Gen 4 and Gen 5 does not like the 26s and 20Bs. 15Bs, to me, I think it's like a perfect match. A quick spool, especially with the billet turbo. Here. And then just put everything back, warm up the car, run a boost to see if it holds. Your pipes back on, and I like to see they're all the same. I think this. And then spray some water on the soap and water on the pipe so it'll slide easier. And once it gets heated up, it'll pretty much evap all the water and stuff. It's just a way for me to get the pipes a lot smoother. Okay. And get my little And get one of these Milwaukee guys, freaking amazing. Save my butt sometimes so much. Tight. And then put the cold pipe back on. Same thing, put some water on. Oh no. Cool. 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 And we're good. All right, and go ahead and warm it up. Do some pulls on it, and then let it cool down and see if it's the right PSI that you wanted. All right, guys. If you like this video, thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll make more videos, so that way I know that you guys are watching it. If not, then there's no point for me making them. Cool.